Alexander, and I'm Superintendent of Watauga County Schools. Welcome tonight to Watauga High School. If you have not seen this performance before, you are going to be in for something really exciting. I had the opportunity to get to see it during one of the dress rehearsals, and I was so moved. Zach and Sarah asked me after the performance, did I have any feedback for the group? And honestly, I was so moved at the time. I couldn't articulate anything intelligible. I think I just said, like, wow, that was amazing. I know that you will share in that response tonight. This group of students is so talented. Their ability to capture the details of the hurricane, not only the details and the events that took place, but really the emotional impact that it had on the individuals who had to go through that and who are still going through that. So I could not be more proud of these students, and of Zach and Sarah as well. So I'm just so excited that you're here tonight. I know you're gonna love it. I'm gonna turn the time over to Mr. Strickler.
Good evening. Just like Dr. Alexander, I came to the last performance of Surge here in Ross Auditorium, and I had the fortune of going and talking to the students the following school day, and Ms. Miller asked me to share a little bit of that with you. I am a big fan of entertainment in the form of joy and all the things it brings. If you want to talk Star Wars, if you want to go watch a football game, let's go Pioneers. Like, there are many things that are there to be joyful about. But if you haven't already seen this, there are many things of dealing with a hurricane that are really sad. And sometimes in arts and entertainment, we don't always seek that out. But what I've told these students and shared with them, and I hope you see the same, is that you really do see some celebration and reflection in sadness and in things that are difficult to go through. And it is utterly amazing. I personally, as a high school principal, just like when people are like, well, you know, the kids really brought this up. No, they brought out shared experiences that if you were here, you had as well. And regardless of their age, regardless of their experience, they do a stunning job. So you are in for a true treat tonight. Before they start, though, I would like to introduce one more person, Dr. Janet Barton Spears. She's been with Lees McCrae since 1976 as a theater professor. She is the director of the Lees McCrae Summer Theater. She is the author of multiple books, has been awarded the Avery County Woman of the Year, not once but twice. She started teaching Sarah Miller Theater when you were 8, is that right? 8 years old. So that's incredible that they're both that young. She's also been awarded the Order of the Longleaf Pine, which is one of the highest civilian honors any North Carolinian can have. And she truly does live the philosophy of being kind to others. I'm going to invite her to come on up and speak a couple words to us.
Yeah, they had to get the old gal to tell you history about what's going on. 46 years ago, 1978, I was invited to direct a musical for Blue Ridge Community Theater. And I said, well, I can do that if you'll just allow me to put anybody in it who tries out. And that's what we did, and Sarah Miller was one of them. Put all those people on stage, a real artist wouldn't do that. 100 kids in the first scene of Annie? Are you kidding? And the farthing stage is now the Schaefer stage. All these little cots lined up backstage. That's not what an artist does. Scores of children were wound, maybe artificially, into shows like Annie and Fiddler on the Roof and My Fair Lady and The Sound of Music. They learned poise and music and dance and literature, and they learned about the hope of an orphan, and they learned the beauty and trials of Jewish tradition and the journey of a lowly street girl who rises from poverty, and the power of music that can whisk a family out of Nazi-occupied Austria. But what about Sarah? What if we hadn't had Blue Ridge Community Theater back then? She might have found her way into the success that she's enjoying tonight. But what if she hadn't had a great high school experience where she was allowed to blossom? You know, maybe those 100 kids on stage were worth it. We educators get that. We know how to throw our art over our shoulder and look first to the needs of our students. And that's our own kind of art. And sometimes, like tonight, the teachable moments and the art merge into one. Got to turn page. Since last summer, I've been writing a musical that we're going to be producing this summer. And guess what it's about? The 1940 flood in Watauga and Avery. I started writing this last summer, before I knew anything about Helene. But it was amazing to me, the similarities of that show and what you guys have written. You know, it was just, there's a lot of things that are the same. Those same emotions, these kids get it. I mean, they not only get now, but they got what people were feeling back in the 40s. And we know how that came out. And it came out with the community coming together and making it work. You know, it's cyclical. About 40 years ago, a little girl named Sarah climbed up on the Schaefer stage and became an actress. And tonight, Ariana Fiddler, you used to climb up on the Lise McRae stage a lot, and here she is. I got a lot out of those, working with those kids, and one of them, my students, for a little short time, was Trimella Chaney. And so here we are. You know, I teach Trimella teaches Sarah, and here they come together, and they have created one of the finest programs in the nation. 46 years of theater since I came to the high country, all carried by enthusiastic students and parents and administrators and teachers. Congratulations to Sarah and Zach, and I'm going to let Trimella Chaney tell the rest of the story.
Thank you so much, Janet. Thank you so much. She was on the first Playmaker selection panel when I got to Watauga. And believe me, I had her on speed dial. And you were always gracious and always so helpful. Thank you. And our very first entry, a little history for you. Our very first entry into the North Carolina Theater Conference was at Lise McRae, a devised piece written by one of the Playmakers. Sarah Miller was very strong in that cast, and we walked away with Best Ensemble and Best Original Play. So when I first came to Watauga, I didn't know how fundraising sock hops worked. So we needed money, what theater doesn't, right? So when I learned the process, all the Friday nights had been taken, except one, homecoming weekend. So I signed up for homecoming weekend, and I asked permission to do a comedy show. I was granted permission, so the Playmakers devised comedy sketches about high school life. And Pioneer Playmaker Punchline was born. And it was a hit, and from that, we were invited to perform at the senior breakfast. Well, we devised comedy again for the senior class each year. Theater is just, well, we know it's magic, but it's the most powerful medium for educating, entertaining, expressing joy, for spotlighting injustice, for strengthening our coping skills, and for unifying us. And this group has given us a gift, a service for us to process the disaster of Helene and the continuing of processing of it. They have done a wonderful job. And I may have birthed this program, but the current directors have grown it, raised it, and parented it. And they are two of the most talented, dedicated, creative, and insightful award-winning directors in North Carolina. I give you Sarah Miller and Zach Walker.
celebrating these fine humans. Right? We thank all of our speakers, and we're grateful to you for accepting our invitation to come and speak and share your knowledge and wisdom and your support. We also want to thank some of our students who stepped in to help us out, Keller Wallen and Rachel Ingram. Nathan Ding and Emma Harris, Rhea Titus, Macy Jennings, Jackson Kirk. All of these students are members of our acting class and our technical theater class. We are a service learning 21st century skill-based department, which means that the students run the work. Please note, there's Macy at the soundboard. Please note, there's Emma at the light board. They'll be executing cues for Hannah and for Anne. As directors, Zach and I share a philosophy about working at NCTC, and it's pretty simple. We're making a cake, we tell the Playmakers. We're making a cake, and we're the only ones who have to like it. We're making a cake. It's what you do when you go participate in a subjective art form, yeah? And as we've probably said 42 other times, at the Shelby Regionals, we got some icing. So right here in front of our hometown crowd, I would like to recognize these folks. For Best Original Song, Clara Lappin, Kylie Hogan, and Liliana Later. Stand up, please. But I'm going to tell you that this is the Buana Kahuwa Award, the big cheese, the Mac Daddy, the one that they give to the best actor of the whole shebang, Rowan Tate. Now they all get to stand up because they also won what is our favorite award and the one that we think speaks the most to their talent and their work together, and that is the only award for outstanding achievement in ensemble acting. They also won a superior rating, the 43rd in program history, the 19th consecutive. I never get to say that in front of such a big group of people. And they were selected by their peers as the Audience Choice Award. They received the honor of Distinguished Play, and they're going to represent all of you at Greensboro College on Thursday and Friday this week at the State North Carolina High School Play Festival, and we perform on Friday at 2:30. So this is our encore performance. Yeah, Zach and I also received an award for co-directing, and we think that's pretty near a first for NCTC to give two directors an award, and we're really proud of that. And that's not why we do the work, but we love the work, and we do the work, and we love it. And right now they're going to walk away, and I'll tell you why. They have, when we go to competition, Mr. Walker will speak more to this in just a second, they have 10 minutes before the production to move their material, which has been preset backstage, to an on-deck location. So their 10 minutes starts now. Welcome, Tim. Other phrases we like to practice are go before you're ready and trust the process. And we've done a lot of both of those things in the last 6 weeks. Like the reporter characters do in this show, we'd like to share some stats on how we got to this night with this work. 8 is the number of days between our last in-person class and our first Google Meet post-Helene. 28 was the total number of days between that first Google Meet and attending Shelby. 3 is the number of Google Meets and in-person sessions it took to arrive at the basic framework of the show that you're going to see tonight. And 30 is the number of minutes between our last writing edits and the preview show. We did not do that tonight. Sarah's gonna have a break. Woof! So there's some stats. They have trusted each other, and they have trusted us. And it's an honor to be able to trust this work to the king of theater at Watauga High School, my trusted partner, longtime friend, Zach Walker.
Hello. So what is competitive theater? I know some of you know what that is out there, but some of you might be like, what? It's a festival. We come to celebrate the work, but it is ultimately a competition. So this is how the North Carolina Theater Conference has constructed this strange, subjective, weird thing that we like to do. I like to liken it to like, you remember when you had a loose tooth and it hurt so bad but you just kept wiggling it and wiggling it? That's competitive theater. Can't stop wiggling. So, you'll notice there are some black periactoids here. In Greensboro, that's actually the distance that the actors have to travel when they go off stage to come all the way down to the front of the apron. So we've tried to recreate the space for them. For load in and load out, your set must arrive during your scheduled load-in time, with enough students to load it in. If you do not have your set on site during your load-in time, you will not be permitted to use it. Each school will have a maximum of 10 minutes to load in their set into a 10 by 10 foot square upstage area behind the curtain, which is what they've done. We are now in the 10 minutes, so they are moving things into the wings where they can get ready to perform. There is a technical meeting. This is the time where students go to Greensboro College or wherever we went to regionals, which was Shelby High School. Schools are required to attend a technical meeting. This meeting is led by the host and the NCTC representatives. Contains the important safety information and an opportunity to obtain rules clarifications. At that time, students will have 5 minutes to walk the stage. They can hear sound samples, see lighting areas prior to the performance. If a show is not represented at their required meeting, they may be disqualified. So, we're backstage 10 minutes prior to our show. They will be escorted. Students can move things out of the 10 by 10. They cannot cross the starting line. If you came to the regional performance, we started the starting line was stage right. So there was a green piece of tape. And then they had to exit everything off stage left. At Greensboro, it's the opposite. So you will notice that change. They had to reblock the load in and load out of the show. So everything will come on from stage left. Everything will go off on stage right. Once the time starts, then they cross that line. Basically, you have 45 minutes to set up your stage, perform whatever it is that you would like to perform, and get it off stage in under 45 minutes. You can do a poem, you can do a play, you can do a cutting, you can do a musical, you can bring a chair out and sit and stare at the audience for 45 minutes. 44 minutes and 44 seconds. But as long as you're under 45 minutes. There are techies who will actually run our show. Hannah can use a device to make the sounds work, but would need a technician to ask for the sounds to be moved up to 100%, 75%, 50%, 25%. M is in the back. They will have a technician and will call cues. Cannot touch the board. So a person who has never seen our show will run the lights for our show. Super exciting. We have adjudicators who will use a rubric to assess our show. Immediately following the show, adjudicators will provide feedback to the group addressing the following items. 3 questions. Number 1, in my opinion, the strongest acting staging elements of this piece were... Number 2, if you continue to work on this piece, I would suggest you concentrate on... Number 3, when I think back and remember this show, what I'll remember most is... And then after that, they can say whatever they want. And that's it. And then we take our show away, and then we watch the other shows. If you've never been to an NCTC festival, and I know that many of you have participated as students and or parents, it is unlike anything you could imagine. while we love our athletic programs, we are not rivals at this festival. You just to watch the students cheer for each other and root for each other, it puts love and hope in my heart for humanity. And watching the show, I know that will happen tonight. So, in a nutshell, that is how the rules go for competitive theater. 2 Distinguished Play Awards will be presented, one by the judges and one by the participants who cast your vote. Schools must see all the shows, and then they can vote for the show they believe would represent North Carolina the best. Schools may, if they don't have enough for cast your vote, the judges will pick both shows. This year, the Southeastern Theater Conference will be in the Inner Harbor area in Baltimore, Maryland. And most recently, Watauga High School has represented NCTC at SCTC in 2020 with Ernest and the Pale Moon, and in 2023 with Our Place. So, any questions? Good. Without further ado, Sir.